Okay, so to start off with, what we need to do is kind of look at what we got here. So we have a ball and we have a platform. Let me delete that and make it a little bit easier to place. There you go. Oops. So we have a platform static mesh there. And if I push play, basically I can move the ball with the controls. I can jump, and if I fall off, it kind of takes over with gravity. So let's delete this, and we're going to need to randomize the placement of this. So let's go here and create a blueprint class, and it's going to be an actor, and then random platforms. Okay, so now instead of random platforms, I have this, and I want to drag in a platform so that we can see it. Let's compile that, and then let's drag in random platforms here to the scene, and let's drag this down, move it over. Oops. And now we have this platform. There you go. So now we need more platforms. Let's build this out. Here, copy, paste, move it over. Then copy, paste, move it over, copy, paste, move it over, and I'm going to have 6 platforms. So I have 4, copy, paste, move it over, copy, paste, move it over. And I think I built it in the wrong direction, so I might have to redo that over. Yeah, because if I play right now, because I am in a 2D style character, it's not going to work. I have a few options, I guess. I can rebuild it over there, or I can take this and rotate it 90 degrees, and then we have it just fine. I think I'll just do that for now, so that way it works a little bit faster. Okay, so now that I have that, let's go back to the random platforms. And we have 5. Let's move this down, let's say negative 200. And then, what is this? This is set to 0, so let's set this to 0. And then copy, paste. Copy, paste. There we go. Paste. 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 And then okay, it looks like we are good there. And then I'm just going to leave it with this 2, although you can make as many as you want. But for this simple example, I'm going to have the 2, and then in the future, you could do as many as you want. It's kind of the same process. So right now, if we play, it just has 2 platforms. Okay. So I am going to go into the random platforms here. And let's go to the event graph. We're going to use begin play. So that's what we need. And let's do a for loop. And I'll take platforms 1 through 5 and drag them in here. Oops. 1 through 5. There you go. And this just needs to be up here. So for the for loop to work, we need an array. We need to make an array. There we go. And we're going to need 6 pins. There we go. So we have that. And then we'll run it to here. Let's create another variable. Let's call this first. So we're seeing if this is the first time this is looped. And then this is a Boolean. Let's compile this. By default, it is going to be true. And then we're going to do a branch. So the main body loop, if it is true, we're going to set it to set first to false. So that way the first platform is always going to be visible. And then if false, we want to, let's get a random Boolean. Okay. Oops, sorry. Let's not connect that there. We need to create it into a branch. Okay. So we are getting a random Boolean, and we're going to say if it is true, we're going to set visibility. I'm going to set default scene root, but we really don't need that. That's just so that we can get it in here, and then we are getting the array element. So let's take all of these elements here and put it up higher. So that way we don't have as many crossing lines. Okay. So we're going to set the visibility to true. And we're going to set collision to collision enabled. And again, we don't need the actual platform. get to the array element, and then collisions enabled. Then if it is false, basically going to take both of these and and set it to the array element. Let me turn off the volume on that. Sorry, guys. Okay, so let's set that, and then we're going to set this. Instead of visibility true, we're going to be visibility false, and no collision. Okay, let's compile this. Doesn't look like we have any errors. So let's play this, and you'll see that we have where we get random platforms. Okay, and then let's take this and play it again. You can see we have other random platforms. And we can kind of play around with it. So that's kind of the general idea of getting those platforms. Okay, so let's take a look at trying to set up the second row. So I'm going to go to platforms. Oops, sorry, not platforms. What was it that I named it? Random platforms. Okay. So we're going to say that this is the default check for the first row. I also want to know is if this, let's create another variable. Let's call this is platform visible. And we're going to set this to an integer. And we're going to make sure that it is an array. And then let's go ahead and add array. So I want to add an item to this array. So let's get the array right here. There we go. So we will add a number. Right now it's just set to 0, but we can take the index number. Okay, so if we go through and we've created all of this, it's going to set a clear the not clear, but add whatever the index number is to the array. So what we're going to be able to do with this is check it on the second row. So if index 1 right here is invisible, we want to make sure that the one right underneath it is visible. Okay, so let us go ahead and do let's take all of this right here and let's make that a function. Collapse to function. Let's name this first row. Okay, then we need 6 through 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's make sure that I am missing 11. Let's bring 11 in. There we go. And then let's make an array. Oops. Make array. Let's select that. And then make sure we have 6 pins. And I have one too many. Oops. Let's clear this and just be quicker to make array. There we go. Make sure we have the right amount. And we can connect them all here. Okay, so I have all of these array elements and I want to run the second row. So what I'm going to do, not a switch, but a sequence. So that way I can do multiple things. Here then we're going to do a for each loop. And then we'll connect the array. Okay. Compile. And then let's copy the first row. And duplicate it. There we go. This is going to be our second row. Okay, so in our second row, we are pretty much doing the same thing, except at this stage, we're going to eventually have its own, or we can use the same variable here, but we want to check right now. And we probably eventually can do 2 separate ones, but I think keeping them separate right now is just easier to visualize it. I'm going to keep this here. Let's rename this platform visible row 1. And then let's duplicate this. This is going to be row 2. Get for row 2. And then we're going to connect this here. There we go. So that's how we will differentiate it. So we have a row 1 and a row 2. And let's compile this. Okay, so with this one here, let's delete all of this because that is what we are using for the first row. Let's go to the event script and let's cut that and let's delete this. What we're going to run is second row here. And then that's jumping here, and then in here we'll paste that to do the loop and then connect the array. So let's compile this and test it really quick because we've done quite a bit. So here we can see that we are getting random platform generation for each level there. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go back into the random platforms. So on row 2, what I want to do is check to see if either of these or we're going to check to see if the top one is visible before we decide to make it invisible. So what we're going to need is platform row 1. Get platform row 1. Okay, and then we're going to need a branch. So let's right click, branch. And that branch is going to be connected to the false. And then we need to check integer equals. So we're going to check to see if one integer is equal to another. So we have this array here, which we're going to need to get each individual value. So and then the index number is the other thing that we're going to need to connect. So we have the index number there. And let's kind of move this out of the way. Now we need a for each loop for this array. So let's do a for each loop. And we're going to run it from the false for each, and then we're going to go here. So it's going to check each one of these. And then the loop body will go here. And then the array index here is going to go into the second one. So basically what we're going to do is check to see if the current array number is equal to anything that is inside of this array. And if it is, we are going to make sure that it is set to true. So that checks the whole loop to make sure that it is true. Then if it is false, we need to set it to this. But we need basically another value because this is checking to see if this is true or not. So let's break this because it's not going to actually connect here properly, because let's say we're looking at number 1. If 1 comes true, but then we have 3, 4, and they become false, and then it goes over here. So let's create another variable. Oops, not dispatcher. Let's undo that. We need another variable. And then it's a platform match. Okay, so let's go to here and set it to a Boolean. And let's set platform match. So if any of these, oh, and it doesn't need to be an array, so let's set it to be just a single. Change variable type. There we go. So if it's ever true, we are going to set that to be a match. Okay, so once it's complete, we can go to another branch. And then check this. So if there is a match, we want to go to make sure that it is visible here. If there is no match, we want to make sure it goes over here. And then at the beginning of all of this over here, we can say set platform match. Actually, let's do it at the beginning of each loop, so that way we can reset it over here. There we go. So we reset it each time it loops over here for each individual platform. And then platform match, false is false. Okay, so let's play this. So we can see that over here where they are missing, it is missing here, but then we have 1 missing again. Let's see. Boom. I'm trying to see. So here we can see that we got it kind of working and kind of not. So sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so let's check the blueprint really quick. Random platforms. So on the for each loop, each time it goes through, it does set it back to false. And we want to make sure that the visibility here is set to true. If the branch is false, we'll set it to false. And we are checking for each loop. Okay, it's still inside of the loop. So this one, oh no, this is once it completes. Once it completes the loop, then we are doing this. And we're just connecting that to there. We got a lot of lines crossing. Okay, so I'm going to pause and give me a moment and I'll figure this out. Okay, I think I know what is going on. So this is the way it was connected a moment ago. Here with the integer type, we have integer 64 and it should be integer. So let's change the type here. Okay. And then on this one, let's change the type again. There we go. And then here and here. So we're going to get on this one here, integer, get the array. There we go. And then we have to get this array element here. So it wasn't working because it wasn't matching the variable type. Okay, let's go to first row and we should see that there's some issues here. So let's delete that, and then we're going to get row 1 is platform visible. Let's try to connect that. Let's delete this and do a add array. There we go. Oops. Connect this and then this. Oopsies. And then the index number goes here. Okay, and then let's go back to is visible row 2, the function. Okay, so over here, again, we're not looking at the right one, so we want to make sure that we have this. Get that. So we are comparing these two integers now. And let's check to see if that works now. So all of those are visible. That's great. Let's try again. So here we can see that we have a little bit of a difference, but always where there is a gap, there is a platform on the bottom. Oh no, it broke. It was working for a while. Let's see. Now it's completely broken again. Okay, so the other thing that I was thinking that could be kind of an issue is let's go to the random platforms, is that we're directly connecting it here from this point. So instead of directly connecting it, let's get over here and then get platform match so that it runs it's separately from it being set over here. Okay, let's compile that. And then let's try again. So the first one is broken, which is not great for us. looked like for a second that it was going to be working. There, that works. And here we can see the first one worked, but the second one didn't. Okay, so let me pause again. We did fix some issues, but let's see if we can figure out the rest of it. Okay, yet again, I think I found it. So over here, I'm connecting the array index, which is checking to see the array index for this item, and I'm connecting that over here too. So that is not okay. I got the array index here, but what I want is, instead of the array element index, I want the array element on that one to connect. And then on this one, I'm connecting completely the wrong thing. So let's zoom out a little bit. It should be from this one over here, goes all the way over here. Okay, let's compile this and test. So solid, where everything is blank, let's escape. Solid, where everything is blank. That is great. That is good. Yeah, I think that was the problem that we had, was that we had the index instead of the actual element in, and then we were plugging it in wrong place. So let me load up the blueprint a little bit here. So we have two platforms right now, and each platform is in the event graph. You can see that it goes in order. First, it creates the first row. Once the first row is created, we take a look and do the second row, and then it looks at the row above to see if there are any missing things. So here, this is a little bit simpler because it's the first row, and we have the array elements, the platforms for the first item. Then we do a loop for each one of those platforms, check to see if it's the first one. If it's the first one, we make sure it stays there, so that way the character can be there. And then after that, it creates a random boolean, and it sets the visibility based off of that boolean result, whether to be visible or invisible. If it's invisible, it turns the collisions off. And then we add it to an array element. The array element is what is sending information over to the other function, which is row 2. In row 2, really, we don't need to check to see if it is first. If we want to, we can delete all that, because there is never going to be another first one, and just connect it directly over here. Let's simplify this a little bit. So we have the next set of platforms that are for row 2. And now we create a random variable, random variable that's Boolean if it's true or false. If it's true, it sets the visibility on and the collisions on. If it's false, it gets a little bit more involved. First, it goes through a loop of the array that we created in first row right here to see if the array element that we have here matches it. So we can see that it's testing it here. If it does match it, we're going to set the variable to true. Then if that array element is true, we go back and set the visibility true for each one of those. Then we go down over here and we see If it is false, it sets it to invisible and turn the collisions off. And then we can add that item to the row 2 array. So that creates the first 2 rows for us. In the next video, let's compile this and double check that those changes that I did work, which they should. Yep, everything is fine. Great. Okay, so that is working for us. Everything that we need. And in this video, that is all set. In the next video, we're going to go ahead and make this a little bit more robust. So that way we can add more layers on the bottom of all of this. And then as our character moves down, we can have more layers upon layers upon layers and through infinity if we wanted to. All right, we will see you guys in the next video. Bye.